The Biden administration has just articulated that they have now created a gun violence prevention department for the federal government. As a solutionary, we got to be very, very objective. So I wanted to see exactly who was in this violence prevention board. I was under the assumption that maybe they had somebody dealing with suicide. Maybe they had somebody dealing with diet. Maybe they have somebody dealing with safe and responsible firearms ownership and handling, because the data is clear. This is how we actually prevent crime. 60% of the deaths associated with firearms, they suicides. So maybe they got a suicide prevention person on there, but you got to see first. It's easy for me to just say, oh, no, they anti-gun, so forth and so on. So let me tell y'all what I found out about the Gun Violence Prevention Board. One, Kamalah Harris. We ain't got to talk about her. She didn't do a good job when she was running things in California. She's not doing a good job trying to convince people she's down with hip hop. She's not doing a good job as the vice president. Let's not talk about her. Two, Stephanie Feldman. Now let me read y'all Stephanie's little bio. Check this out. Stephanie Feldman's worked for President Biden for more than a decade. She currently serves as assistant to the president and White House staff secretary. Now she's gonna add role of director of the White House of Office Gun Violence Prevention to her responsibilities. Yada yada. Fast forward a bit. A survivor of gun violence, Jackson has led Community Justice Action Fund. Y'all remember that video that I just made about Quavo? And I talked about the Safer Communities Act that Biden initiated, and it was $13 billion put to the side, right? And there was a fund. That's the fund. She ran it. She's worked for Biden for 10 years, and she's ran the Community Justice Action Fund. That's where they're allocating the $13 billion that I said in that other video, where they're trying to convince young people to vote in a certain direction, and they can put that $13 billion towards getting young people to advocate for red flag laws. She ran that. Survivor gun violence, Jackson has led Community Justice Action Fund, a national survivor-led gun violence prevention organization focused exclusively on the impact to black and brown communities. They're not worried about black and brown people having safe and responsible firearms ownership. They're worrying about the impact of gun control, which means how we can lock people up. When I say gun control is racist, I'm not just saying it to sound cool. But let's move on. Who's next? Rob Wilcox will also serve as Special Assistant to the President and Deputy Director of the White House Gun Violence Prevention Board. Previously, Rob served as the Senior Director of Federal Government Affairs at Everytown for gun safety. His tenure at Everytown has included advising policymakers at all levels of government, that means local, state, and federal, leading the organization's federal advocacy efforts. Previously, Wilcox worked at Brady, another bigger, more rich anti-gun situation. Served on the board of directors of New York's Against Gun Violence Practice Law, yada yada, survivor of gun violence, da da da. Let's go to the next person. Greg Jackson. That sounds like a brother, right? Greg, definitely Greg gonna be actually advocating for the people to be armed, right? Let's see. Greg Jackson will serve as Special Assistant to the President and Director of the White House Office on Gun Violence Prevention. A lot of this is just word salad. Greg has been a gun violence prevention leader for over 10 years, a survivor of gun violence. Greg has led Community Justice Action Fund. Here's that fund again. So 2 out of the 3 people that they're going to run this thing, both have either led or served on the board of the Community Justice Action, whatever, fund. Fund means when we're funding something, we get money for it. Focused exclusively on the impact to black and brown communities. Da-da-da-da, Greg's testified, yada, 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 yada. Guys, we see what it is. Rob Wilcox, Greg Jackson, Stephanie Feldman, Vice President Kamala Harris. This is 100% an anti-gun effort that is now bolstered with the so-called community organization that is now has access to $13 billion under the Safer Communities Act that was signed in June of 2022. That's what this is. This is not about a conversation about saving lives, even though they say that. This is not a conversation about healing. This is not a conversation about addressing the mental component. They've mentioned none of these things. They've stacked the deck with anti-gun proponents that have worked for Everytown, Brady, and now this new slush fund of anti-gun epic proportions, this community fund. This is why I'm telling you guys, it is important for us to focus in urban America. They keep saying it, black and brown communities, black and brown communities, black and brown communities. When I say all gun control is racist, and as we've gotten with Black Guns Matter, more and more African Americans to purchase firearms than ever over the last 5-6 years, than ever in American history, they redoubled their efforts and they put $13 billion behind it, allocated under this fund to people that they've stacked the deck with, that they're going to try to convince your young people that they should not be safe and responsible firearms owners. That's what this Gun Violence Prevention Board is. If we want the politics to change for our communities to be able to defend themselves, we have to get more fresh blood from the demographics into this fight. They are targeting black and brown urban communities. They are trying to convince them to be anti-gun. This is not complicated. They're telling you exactly what they're doing. We have to fund the organizations and people doing the work, reaching out to young people in these same black and brown communities, but not limited to. Yeah, white guys, yeah, white women, we Spanish, Asian, talking to you too, guys. We are in this together and our fates are intertwined. They are gearing up for war and they got a $13 billion war chest. Help out. And I was objective. I thought they was going to have some health and fitness people on the board. I thought they was going to try to stop people from taking psych meds because most of the mass shooters, them school shootings, the mass shooters and stuff like that, those people are on psych meds. I thought they were going to talk about holistic because a board is a holistic board of directors, but that's not what they're doing. See, guys, when I get upset with everybody and I get frustrated when I'm telling people all gun control is racist for however long, we start doing work in the community. I say, hey, guys, we need more funding because we don't take government dollars. Guys, Solutionary September. We need 2,800 more donors at the $100 level, and that's $280,000. I earmark and explain exactly what we're going to do with it. You see the track record of what we've done with Black Guns Matter already with the money that we raised. And then people lame out. Meanwhile, we're fighting up against a new Community Justice Action Fund with people that have been well-versed on local, state, and federal engagement to target young people to vote in this direction, and we're already seeing it. Quavo at the White House, Kamalah Harris dancing for the hip-hop 50th at her crib. They're already starting the propaganda, and we ain't even raised the remaining $280,000. I'm not saying this to be mean to you guys. I just want you guys to understand that this is where we at. They playing chess and checkers, and they have a bigger war chest. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Maj is wrong. Maj, you think Maj is mostly right. Maybe these guys will turn over another leaf. Maybe they'll add some more people to the board with this $13 billion would it be dollars. Maybe they'll do that. Who knows? I'm not sure. But this is the Gun Violence Prevention Board. Tell me your thoughts. Also, guys, go over to solutionaryuniversity.org. Register for online basic firearms classes. The more people we get to be safe and responsible firearms owners, the better of an understanding of the importance of the Second Amendment. Now we have people making better political choices. We do not need more urban Americans following this foolishness. We're willing to do the work. We need you guys' support to get active. GiveSendGo.com/solutionary. All in-person classes are free to all because of your voluntary donations. Okay, guys? This is a holistic approach to actually stop the death and carnage associated with firearms and heal our communities. This is actually what we've done, and we ain't got $13 billion. It would be great if we did, but, you know, I'm not a Democrat. Either way, guys, remember, your self-defense, personal protection, and Second Amendment journey is an everyday endeavor. Be safe, be solutionary.